Yeah. You're tuned in to the sound, turn the volume up now. Bringing you the real, no filter, just the facts. Dropping knowledge on these classic tracks. From the jump, yeah, we keep it on lock. Tick tock, listen to the clock. Let's get it. Let's get it. Yeah.
Let's get it. That's what the dude says. So let's get it. What makes people leave everything they know, climb aboard a crowded wooden ship, and gamble everything? Their lives, their homes, their families. Just gamble and travel across that violent Atlantic Ocean. Well, anyway, when they came over here, Europe was already crowded, broke, fighting over religion, fighting over kings, and probably fighting over who stole the last hot loaf of that bread. It wasn't gluten-free, I can tell you that. So somebody looked across the Atlantic and said, there's got to be something better over there. Way over there. Way over there. So they came seeking freedom, chasing land and that gold, carrying flags, muskets, Bibles, and enough confidence to claim the property that was already had people on it. Some bullshit right there. The New World, North America. Millions of people were already here, dude. They were already here. So why did the Europeans really leave home? Was it for freedom, survival, fortune, or the biggest unauthorized real estate takeover in history? Strap in, baby. Here we're going to think a little bit, laugh a little bit, consume less BS. We're going to touch on your spiritual a little bit. Yay. Your mental, we definitely going to touch that. Your physical, coming soon near to you or coming soon to you. We're going to touch your conscious, your subconscious. Maybe even your superconscious. Yeah, we're going to do that. Pretty soon we're going to do that. Because you know what? If you don't know what was, you definitely don't know what is. Here we just consume less BS. That's all it is, baby. All gas and no brakes. So why did these Europeans leave their homeland for North America? So this migration started between the 1400s and the 1700s. It was driven by a combination of issues: economic opportunities, political rivalries, religious conflicts, population pressure, and imperial ambition. They believe that life across the Atlantic offer greater possibilities than being here. Wealth and economic opportunities. For many, the primary motivation was, of course, the economics. Europe was largely a land of rigid social classes. Landowners were concentrated among nobles, such as Sir Reuben Barbour. He came from a wealthy family, of course. Looking out over the peasants and the laborers, he knew that they had a little chance to improve their circumstances. Yeah, Lord Reuben Barbour. Yeah, that's a true story. Competition between European kingdoms. These 5 major rascals here competing for this wealth and influence. Spain, Portugal, England, France, and the Dutch Republic. Hey, we need new trade routes. We need colonies. We need slaves. We need natural resources. We need military advantage. We need strategic ports to be competitive against these other European kingdoms. Because colonies became a symbol of national power. The more territory a kingdom controlled, the richer, the more influential it becomes. That's right. These 5 major powers, they wanted this. Hey, we're going to take this, basically. So, religion played a major role for certain groups during the 15 and 1600s. See, black people, you don't know. You was in slavery at that time. You didn't know what was going on. You didn't know that. You didn't know that these people, these Europeans, were fighting over religion. They were just paving the road for you once you woke up and has this midget of freedom that you will have European Christian religion. You didn't know that. Oh, yeah. Exactly. You didn't. I know you didn't. So some groups sought places where they could worship according to their own beliefs. The Puritans, the Pilgrims, the Quakers, the Catholics in certain colonies. So many sought this religious freedom. But wait a minute. Wait a minute. So the Protestant Reformation was a religious earthquake that shattered the unity of Western Christianity. That includes you here in North America. You sitting in the West. Yes. Western Christianity. The Western Christianity, what happened here was they weakened the authority of the Pope. Because they created these new Protestant churches that help plunge Europe into a more than a century of political and religious conflicts. That's right, religious wars. You didn't know that, right? The Roman Catholic Church dominated religion or religious life throughout Western Europe. Actually, all of Europe. It controlled enormous wealth, owned extensive land, influenced kings, claimed authority over Christian doctrine. So serious complaints have been building for years. Church offices were sometimes sold or given to politically connected families, such as Lord Reuben Barber. Yeah, you didn't know that, did you? Okay. Some clergies live in luxury while ordinary people struggle. The Pope became involved in wars, taxations, territorial policies, and diplomacy. That sparked a fire right there. A group of people weren't going to have that. They're like, oh, no. Martin Luther lit a fire, not Martin Luther King. I know you're thinking about Martin Luther King went over there, but this was 1517. Martin Luther, a German monk and a theological professor. You're probably wondering, what is a monk doing in Christian religion? But they're there. Usually when you think of monk, you're going Buddhist, Hindu, some of that Far East religion. That's what you're thinking. That's what you would think, basically. So Luther, or Martin, initially sought reform, not the creation of a separate religion. But the disagreement quickly grew into a direct challenge to the Pope's authority. Now you probably wonder, what happened? Believe it or not, the Conversation No Filter had microphones back then. We had some microphones that we put in over there, and we heard the disagreement between Martin Luther and the Popey, or the Pope. It might be a little hard to understand this is 1517, so it might be a little hard to understand some of the footage, but this is actual footage from 1517, Martin Luther talking to the Pope. Yes. Look here, baby. Let me tell you something here. You got your own thing. You got millions of followers. I'm just trying to get in where I fit in so I can get my money. Hey, don't interfere with my money. I won't interfere with your money. But if need be, if we need to strap up and get at it, homeboy, we will. I ain't here to play. I'm Martin Luther, baby. So either you can get in where you fit in because I'm already doing my thing. You do your thing. Can you dig that? I'm piecing out of here, bro. Yeah, that was actual footage. Real footage, yeah, from 1517. That's right. Consume less BS. Anyway, Luther argued that salvation has come through faith and grace, divine grace. Not just grace, but divine grace. Not human works or purchased religious beliefs. Scriptures is the highest religious authority. Ordinary people should have a greater access to Bibles. What, they didn't have Bibles back then? They didn't have enough? They didn't have enough of those books that they had translated from Hebrew, to Greek, to English. They didn't have enough of that? Well, anyway. People did not require a priestly institution to stand between themselves and God. That's what they did not want. You need a priest to tell you. Yes, you need a priest to tell you how to feel and think. So in 1521, Luther appeared before Emperor Charles V. Now, wait a minute. Charles V. The place that they met at, this is a real place. They met at the Diet of Worms. This is a real name. This is true. You can look this up. But see, they probably was saying, hey, you're going to be eating these worms. You're going to be in a dirt nap if you keep this crap up. Because believe it or not, the Roman Catholic Church, the Vatican, they did have private armies. They did. The Jesuits, the Knights of Templars that eventually turned into Freemasonry. Oh, I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have went that deep for you. But anyway, I did. Oh, well. So diet comes from the Latin word official assembly. Not a meal plan, but official assembly. It's an appointed meeting. So can you imagine somebody walking up to you saying, hey, we got a diet today. Yeah, there's a diet today. Okay. We have a meeting today. Just say meeting. Worms. W-O-R-M-S. Was the city where they had this meeting. So in German, the name is closer to Worms or whatever, V-O-R-M-S. I guess that's how you say it. So Worms is one of Germany's oldest city. It began as an ancient Celtic settlement, not the Boston Celtics people. It later became a Roman city and eventually developed into an important medieval, political, and religious center along the Rhine River. So the Diet of Worms, that's no joke. This is an actual place. So, you know what? I'm coming to a break right now. I'm gonna come back with you. Or I'm gonna get back to you. I'm gonna finish this up. You're gonna really enjoy this. So see you at the end of the break. All right, let's finish this up. Let's get right into it. So the Diet of Worms was no joke. It was a real place. Historically, one man stood before an emperor, church officials, the prince, the political power of Europe, and refused to surrender his conscience. The meeting helped change Christianity forever, along with the Council of Nicaea. Those two things change Christianity as we know it forever. Once again, black people, you were slaves. Your ancestors were slaves. So you actually get this European theology when you sat there in church. Even though you got a black preacher up there preaching to you. Okay, I'm going to leave that alone. So y'all should have a picture of Martin Luther on your wall besides Jesus. I remember that picture of Jesus when I was a little kid, holding the lamb, looking down. I asked my mom, why is he looking like that? Well, anyway, that event changed European history forever. He was ordered to renounce his teaching, but he refused. He was declared an outlaw. Then did the vicious rumors start. The printing press turned one of his remarks into a dispute. This turned into a European revolution. Once the door was open, the Reformation created one big united movement. See, they shouldn't have started these rumors about him. You know, I prayed a little bit of what happened there. He told him he was going to get his money, step off and stuff like that. I think what happened was he was saying, I'm going to break you off, or I'm going to set it off, or I'm going to knock you off. I think that's it. That's how the rumor started. It was a vicious rumor at that. So Martin Luther inspired Lutheran churches across Germany and Scandinavia, reformed in Switzerland. John Calvin developed a highly organized Reformed tradition centered in Geneva. The Anabaptists, I guess that's how you say it. That's part of that Protestant Reformation. They rejected infant baptism. Me too. I mean, why would you hold a baby underwater like that? The Catholics take some water and I guess they put it on his head, whatever. However they do, I don't know. But they demanded voluntary communities of believers. Just come on. Just volunteer your belief. But you know what? This uprising was so big that King Henry VIII separated England from the Catholic authority. The Church of England adopted this Protestant teaching. Many European rulers did not embrace Protestantism purely because of theology. The Protestant Reformation therefore became a struggle over both salvation and sovereignty. Who rules the soul? Who controls the land? Who controls the land? Who rules your soul? This had produced wars. The German Peasant War. The French Wars of Religion. Wars over religion? No way. The Dutch Revolt. And eventually the 30-Year War. 30 years of fighting. This devastated large sections of Central Europe between 1618 and 1648. This changed Europe permanently. Western Christianity lost its religious unity. We see divisions now in North America because of this. This church don't like that church. That church don't like this church because they do it this way. Stupid. Protestant settlers later carried these divisions where? Into North America. All it did was produce persecution and war. They got tired of the wars, man, fighting over religion. The Reformation started an argument over church abuse and salvation, but it became a struggle over information, authority, money, and land. Sounds familiar, right? Europe had one dominant religious house. Martin questioned the management, challenged the rules, and before long, the entire house split. Religion versus religion, war after war after war. These wars has been going on for thousands of years. Muslim versus Christians, Christians versus Muslim. Even now, this country is attacking a Muslim nation. Donald Trump, the comb-over boy, got on TV and said that the Iran war was sanctioned by God. What they tell you right there? Well, I don't know if this dude is, I don't know what he is. He's more of an atheist. He's not Christian. It seems that, he has this thing against Muslim nations, him and Benji. Gaza Strip, Muslims. The white people that are in Israel today, they're Europeans, dude. They're not the true natives of that land. Then he had the nerve to say, let the bombing begin and all praises to Allah. Come on, comb over boy. You're showing your stupidity. But we know that this is a fight for money, natural resources, land, and your personal power and the stock market. Right, comb over boy? Right, thought so. Another reason why Europeans left is because population grew. European population increased significantly during this period. For many younger men and families, North America represented a chance to start over. Man, they was doing a whole bunch of, let me stop. Anyway. Trade was another driving force. Merchant, I guess you call it mercantilism. European governments followed an economic system known as mercantilism. mercantism, or something like that. Mercantism. They believed wealth came from accumulating gold and silver and controlling trade, stealing and robbing, of course, from other countries, and enslavement as well. So these materials were shipped back to Europe after they stripped the land, manufactured its goods, and sent it right back to the homeland, Europe. So the colonies in North America became this economic engine for the mother country, or the mother countries, because these five powers that were over there, or over here, North America. Who was that? Portugal, Spain. Who else? Dutch Republic. Who else? French. Whatever. I think I named them in the beginning. The wealthy empires was carved from the back of enslaved Africans. Raw material torn from the earth were shipped across the oceans, transformed into glittering goods and sold for profit, while human beings bound in chains and sanctioned by the church. That's true. By the church and the crowns were forced to build a world that they would never be allowed to share. It was prosperity born from suffering, an empire raised on stolen labor and stolen lives. The empires did not rise from geniuses or destiny. It rose from bodies, from hands that never rested, from people stripped of freedom and names. You think my name was Mr. Johnson when I got here? Mr. Smith? Mr. Jones? They strip you of your name too. Your wealth was not crafted. It was extracted, demanded, taken. Slavery was a system of wounds carved into humanity. Across the Atlantic, ships carried timber, tobacco, sugar, wheat, everything. And the silent screams of those who harvest them. Europe poured riches from the raw material of a continent and from the stolen breath of enslaved Africans, echoed with a heartbeat that was never free. The colonies fueled the empires, but enslaved people paid the price. Europe factories roared because millions were forced to bend, break, bleed, and die. Slavery was not an accident of history. It was the engine. Plus, it was in the scriptures as well. I'll cover that some other time. Another reason why they left: adventurous exploitation, to escape from poverty. Many immigrants simply wanted a better life. Thank you. You're welcome. You recognize that, right? So, like I said, cities in Europe often face overcrowding, disease, unemployment, food shortage, and famine. Another reason why they left was political instability, wars and political upheaval, reoccurring regional conflicts. World War I and World War II. These are European nations fighting. Guess what? The black soldiers went there. People of all nationalities went to these two wars, fighting for these European powers, basically, that was already here. They going to help their brother. That's what it was about. You didn't think of that, did you? Of course you didn't. Of course you did. Anyway, like I said, recurring conflicts, it actually created insecurity, encouraging some families to seek stability overseas. European migration to North America was simply the movement of people. It was an expansion of competing empires into a land that was already inhabited by millions of people. So when the Europeans arrived, they encountered these established nations, these established civilizations, their own government, their own trade network, their own culture. But colonization, therefore, became a process. A corporation in some places, conflicts in others, and profound transformation across the continent. Europeans came looking for freedom. Others came seeking this land, wealth, and trade and power. Kings wanted empires, merchants wanted profits. Farmers wanted lands. Religious groups wanted security and followers and believers. The motive reshaped a continent that was already home to thriving indigenous civilizations. Understand, those motives helped us understand not only why America was settled, but how its earliest history unfolded. We're coming to the end of the show. There's more to expound on this. Remember to share and like on YouTube. Tell a friend, you tell a friend. Make sure that you tell another friend. I appreciate you for tuning in. It's all gas and no brakes on the Conversation No Filter show. Until next week.
Thanks for joining me on Conversations No Filter. If today's conversation made you think, question, or see the world a little differently, then we've done our job. Join me again next week for more thought-provoking conversations and fresh perspectives designed to challenge your thinking and expand your mind. Until then, stay curious.